Hi everyone, this is Linda with Linda Sue Plants for You. Today we're going to talk a little bit about this guy. This is my, the botanical name, if I don't demolish it, is Pachyria aquatica, or Pachyria aquatica, otherwise known as the money tree or money plant. And I have had this plant for a while. When I purchased it, it was about this up to here. And it had and there still is a cluster of leaves in here. I did have somebody that commented that perhaps I should cut that off so the rest of the plant could grow better. And I did consider it. I considered it a few times actually. But then, I don't know, something just wouldn't let me do it, I guess, is the best way I can explain it. And the reason I think why is because it was such healthy growth. The thought of cutting off perfectly healthy leaves just kind of went against my grain. So I left it on there. And I changed where I had it. I had it in my south window of my living room, and I moved it to the corner of the southwest windows in my dining room, and it took off like crazy. So, I don't know, it could be the east light. I have a lot of luck with my east windows. I always have. In all the years I've been growing plants, if I can't get something to grow anywhere else, they always survive in the east window. And I think it's because they're getting that really, really bright morning sun. I mean, it's blinding. When I'm sitting at my desk in my office, that has a east and a north window, and when I'm sitting at my desk, I can't even sit there even if I'm not looking at the window because the light is so bright, I have to close my blinds. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. And it only does that till about noon. So anyway, that's that story. Now, the other thing I want to talk about here is, and I hope you can see this, the leaves are getting chlorotic looking. They're getting almost see-through, some of them. And one of the reasons may be because I neglected watering this when I was having my major health issues. I couldn't get to it very often, and I didn't want to overwater it because of these stems. These are hard woody stems, and you don't want to overwater those because that will rot very easily. So I neglected it in the other direction. But as you can see, it's still very healthy. I've got a ton of new growth up here, and those leaves that I thought about cutting out are still healthy and they're getting bigger. So I'm glad that I didn't do that, although I'm not saying that was bad advice because it probably would have made the rest of the plant flourish better, but needless to say, I left them there and it's fine. What I'm not liking is the chlorotic leaves, and that, when I have that happen on my other plant, I have a few plants where that happens. One of them is my peace lily. And I don't know why I could never remember the name of that plant. Okay. I just got up to turn on the overhead light, and I think that helped a little, huh? Okay. So anyway, back to my story here. I usually keep a container with water with Epsom salt in it. And that takes care of the problem with my peace lily. So I'm going to try it on this one. And I'm hoping that that's going to fix this. And, you know, most of the time when we have yellow leaves from not doing something enough or overdoing something, once they're yellow, there's no coming back. But that's usually a root thing, you know, where it's overwatered or underwatered, or maybe it got a cold blast or something. But when it is due to a mineral lack of mineral, you can get it back. At least in this case, you can. I've had very good luck with it. My peace lily was almost dead, and that had other issues. And then when I got those taken care of and the plant started to grow really good, I ended up getting this chlorotic look to the leaves. And I watched quite a few videos, and I did some research on Google, and I came to the conclusion that I think what that problem was it needed calcium. So that's what I did, and it worked. And I still have to do that occasionally. About every, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, I add a little calcium water to my peace lily, and it greens up those leaves within days. So we're going to try that with this. But before we do that, I want to show you, and I'm going to tilt the camera down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And sorry, I don't have a camera person, and I don't have a setup here where I can reach my camera from where I sit. So I apologize for the interruption, but alrighty. So first thing I want to show you is this container. This container is from the Simply Everything Juice Company. This is a Simply Lemonade. It's the only one that I got from them. I know my daughter uses. She purchases from these all the time. I think she gets Simply Orange from them, and she says it's really good. This is the best lemonade I've ever had. It's not too sweet, it's not too sour, and it's just thirst quenching. And I go through a lot of these in the summer, but I'm winding down now and I'm switching back to my Welch's grape juice. But before I do, I'm going to use these containers. And I do switch them out periodically. Now, what I wanted to show you here, was look at how easy this comes off of here. If you get a hold of the corner, it just comes off nice and clean. Not like your typical tags that you try to get off. Although I have a trick for that too. If you want to know it, I'll let you know in a second. Here again, you just pull, and look at how nice that comes off. It's so easy. Okay. And there's no sticky residue left on there either, by the way. So, if you have access to this, I get this at Pick and Save. Well, now it's called Kroger's, but I get it at Pick and Save / Kroger's. And they work great. Oh, I wanted to tell you the amount on here. Let me see if I can salvage that. I think it's 2.7 quarts. 89 fluid ounces, 2.7 quarts. So it's a little more than a half a gallon. When I use Epsom salt, well, this is my plain tap water, and we're going to talk about that in a minute too. When I use Epsom salt, I just get it at the drugstore. Walgreens, I think it. Yep. And it comes in a big bag. It's fairly inexpensive, and it works. The back of it says, for fertilizer uses, guaranteed analysis is magnesium 9.87, sulfur 12.98. So, you know, I don't know if specifically what those are or what they're made of. I don't know the chemical name for them, but that is what I use. So, as you can see, some of it I had to dump out and pound on the table because I didn't have it in this bag. I didn't have it in this big bag, and it got a little hard. So now I keep it in a Ziploc bag. But I'm going to use, I normally use 1 tablespoon per gallon, okay? And that's 15 milliliters. But because I'm using a little over a half gallon, I'm only going to use a half a teaspoon, which is 2.5 milliliters. Keeping in mind, it may not be quite strong enough, but I'd rather underbid it than over. If you put too much in, then you can damage your plants. So for this container, which is 2.7 gallons, I am using a half teaspoon of Epsom salt. And what I'm doing is putting it in here. And we're going to add distilled water. And this is just glacier mist distilled water. Now I'm going to put a little bit in here first. Oops, didn't mean to make that much noise. Hope I didn't break your eardrums. And even the tops are even green for plants. Isn't that neat? Okay. I'm going to shake it up. Because I want it to dissolve. And if you hold it in the light, you can see if you can still see solid particles, then you continue to shake until most of it is dissolved in the water. Much like regular table salt, you know. I mean, you're going to have a couple little floaties in there, but the majority of them are melted. Then you're good to go. Then I'm going to fill up this container the rest of the way. And this funnel comes in handy for so many things. I confiscated it from my husband. I have a couple funnels in here, but I really like this one. And I know it's his because it's got a hole where he had it hanging up in the garage. And he came in one day and he said, that's my funnel. I said, no, it's not. It's mine. It's for my plants. And he gave me a look. Because he knew it was his. But he didn't take it from me because he's sweet. All right. Okay. Set that down. And that's all there is to it. Now I got my mineral fortified water. And this is what I'm going to use to bring the color back in these leaves. I'm going to write on here Epsom, because I have a lot of different, well, I'm not writing it very neat, but that's okay, I know what it is. I have a lot of different water vessels that I use. I use some with tap water, and that's what I want to talk about next. I use some with Epsom. I use some with fertilizer, regular fertilizer, Jack's fertilizer. So it just depends on what plant I'm watering. This is plain tap water, and this I put a half a cup, not quite a half a cup, of hydrogen peroxide. And the reason I do that is because my tap water is, I don't know what all bacteria is in there or what's all wrong with it. I just know our tap water is not real great. It's drinkable. I use it when I'm boiling potatoes or noodles or something like that, but I no longer drink it straight out of the faucet like I used to. And I don't even have a scientific explanation for you, but we did have our water tested many, many years ago, and it was extremely high in iron. I knew that. And he said we actually had a water softener put in, and it cost us $2,000. It was a used unit, only to find out all of a sudden, like 2 years later, not even, all of our fixtures that we had just put in our new bathroom, where everything was turning brown again. So we called a different company, and they came out and they said we never should have had the kind that we had in the first place, because it doesn't do the trick. They said you need this kind of water softener and you need an iron filter. So we've been with that company forever now. We just rent it, and it's fairly inexpensive. So we just rent the whole unit from them, and that works. But you know, that's got salt in it. So I have plants that they don't like the salt. And one of these days my husband said he's going to bypass our cold water. He's got to do some, you know, welding and what have you, and move some pipes around, and so that it only goes to the hot water, not the cold. And we don't, you know, as far as in the bathroom, most of the water we use in there is hot, so I don't think it'll be a problem in there to get it out of the cold water. But once I can do that, then I can just fill these up with tap water and let them sit for a day, which is what I try to do. I can't always. Sometimes I got emergency watering needs, but anyway, that's that. I hope I didn't forget to tell you anything, because once I start explaining stuff, my mind starts, all these other things come to mind that I feel important to tell you, and then I forget the whole reason I started to tell you in the first place. Part of that's age, by the way. So if you're not old, don't laugh, because you'll get there someday. Alright, so we've got my tap water, we've got the Epsom salt water, which is what we're going to use today. So I'm going to get this out of our way. And then we're going to repot. Oh, and I found a really good use for the top of my Folgers coffee containers that we get our coffee in. Look at that. Makes a great saucer. And saucers for this size pot are almost impossible to come by right now. I don't know what is going on with the terracotta world, but man, we used to be able to buy terracotta pots anywhere, anytime. They had every size you can imagine. They had saucers to go with it. And now you're lucky if you can find a handful of them, and they're going up in price. And very often they don't have the size we need, and they don't have the saucers to go with them. What good is the pot without the saucer? This, as you can see, hopefully, this saucer is too small. I mean, it fits in here, yeah, but if the water goes out into the saucer, it's gonna tip over the side. So I'm gonna just go with this one. It gives a little bit of room for water to accumulate down here without running over the sides, making a mess. All right, so let's get this out of here. And this plant, and I have one more on this table that have to be addressed. And once I get done with that, then I'm pretty much done in my dining room as far as what I have to do right now for my plants. And then I'm going to do a complete dining room tour for everybody. I've been promising for months, and have no control over some of my circumstances. So I apologize for that, but better late than never. Alright. I just saw an interesting video that's, I believe it was 9 months ago. 9 months old. Legends of Monstera is the name of the YouTube video. He's got some really interesting videos. And he goes to other people's houses and stuff, kind of like Summer Rain Oaks does. But he's a real upbeat young man, and he's easy to watch, easy to listen to. And he's got a lot of really good information. So if you are looking for someone new to watch, I would suggest you tune into him, because he's okay. Now most of you are gonna probably say, hey, that soil looks wet to me, and you said you don't repot with wet roots. I don't like to repot with wet roots, but I didn't have a choice here unless I want to wait another couple of days, and I don't. I had to water this plant. It was that dry, and it just, I thought it would be dry by today, but it's not. So we're just going to have to go forward with it and hope for the best. And I really don't even need to be doing what I'm doing here, but I just do that by habit. Just kind of loosen up the soil a little bit. Okay, yeah, and you can see the roots here. There are some, look at, ooh, that's not good, and that could also be the reason for my yellowing leaves. But the Epsom salt won't hurt it. So, alright, I think we got the bulk of that out of there that we need to get out. I gotta put a little more soil in here. And I'd like to say too, you know, I really, really appreciate the comments that I get on my channel. All of them. And I've gotten a couple lately that said it had to do with the fact that my channel was calming for them. And I know that there are people who are bored to death with my channel because they're just used to the fast-paced lifestyle. And I understand that. I truly do. But I'm not catering to that because, number one, I'm not fast-paced. I couldn't be right now if I wanted to. So I am just bringing my plant world to you as best I can. And for those of you that enjoy it, some of you have let me know. I've had several people actually say to me, your videos are so calming. I am so happy to hear that, my friends, because that is exactly what I was looking for when I joined the plant community. I've been raising plants all my life. And if you go back, you can hear my part of my story anyway, but due to circumstances beyond my control, I am pretty much housebound and dependent on others. And that was a big change from being a real estate broker and being busy every day after day after day. Some months not even getting a day off. And I enjoyed my work. But, you know, little by little, I got used to that busy pace to the point where I didn't recognize when I was being too busy. I had a hard time relaxing. And that's not healthy for anybody. So when I started watching YouTube and I found the first couple plant channels that I turned onto, I could just feel my whole body calming down, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so nice. One of those channels was, I talk about her a lot, Suzette's Gardens. Her and I have a lot in common, and her videos are very calm as well. So if you like mine, you'll probably like hers just as much, if not better, because she's got even a much bigger selection of plants than I do. But the point I'm trying to get at here is I really appreciate those of you that let me know that you were happy, that it calmed you and had a calming effect on you, because that's exactly what I'm hoping for everyone, you know. So if you're one of those people, please don't be afraid to let me know. I see, you know, some of my videos have got a couple hundred views, but I only have 5 or 6 comments. Some of them not even. Some of them a little more, but most of them right around 5 to 7 comments each. And I wonder to myself, is it because they don't have the time to leave the comment? Or is it because they don't know what to say? Or is it because they looked at it for 10 minutes and got bored and went on to something else? And I guess I can look at my analytics and find that out, but I don't want to even take time to do that because it's really not important. But I did want to mention it here because, you know, we put a lot of thought and effort, I might add, into making these videos. And as much as I enjoy doing it, and I'll keep doing it because I enjoy doing it, but it would be nice to hear what you thought of it. And even if you have a negative, as long as you present it properly and don't, you know, start cussing a blue streak or saying nasty things, I don't have a problem if you have to leave something negative. If you say to me, hey, you told the people blah, 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 and I think that's very wrong because I'm okay with that, because I don't want to give anybody the wrong advice. But I do try to always tell everyone the advice and information that I'm giving is what I do and what works for me. I don't pretend to be an expert. I don't want anyone to think I'm an expert. But sometimes we have to try different things. I've even had things work for me years ago that don't work for me now. And it was a different atmosphere, different home, different county, you know, different weather. So what works for one doesn't always work for, it does not work for everyone. So keep that in mind when you're leaving the comments. Another thing, I'd love to hear from you guys. If there's anything that I haven't talked about that you'd like to hear more about. Because if I know, or if I have experience in it, I'll be happy to share that with you. So let me know, and we'll see where that goes, okay? Make it a little interesting for the winter, the long, boring winter. All right, so here she is. I'm going to put a little water in her, and then we're going to cut this short. I have lots of work to do, and I've had a very good week. I mean, in the past I've had a good day. I've had a good week. This whole week has been, I had one phenomenal day, and then the following day it wasn't so great, but I was still able to function pretty good, and it's still going. So praise God. I'm so grateful to be up and around and getting things accomplished and doing some things. Oh, I was going to mention too, before I got sick, I was making greeting cards in my spare time from scratch, and they were blank greeting cards. And I'm hoping that I will continue on my upswing of my health and be able to start incorporating those into my plants, or incorporating my plants into those cards. And if that happens, I'm definitely going to be putting those out there for sale at some point. But that's a long-term goal for me. Another long-term goal I have is, those of you that watched my Black Knight, video, that propagating video, the one that was hanging down to the floor, and I cut it up and I just showed you an update on it yesterday or the day before. All the leaves that fell off, that I put in the sphagnum in the plastic, they're all getting roots on them. And someone asked me, what are you going to do when those turn into plants? And I said, I haven't thought about it. But I did think about it in the last 24 hours, and I've been looking, and I can't seem to locate the site I'm looking for through USPS. They used to give away boxes. You could get them delivered to your house for free. When I used to be an avid seller on eBay, when we had our antiques, I used to get them delivered to my house from the post office. But I can't seem to find any little ones. And if I could find some small flat boxes, depending on what they cost to ship, I may have to charge you guys for shipping, because I have a feeling I'm going to have like 50 plants. And I can't afford to do all that for everybody. But if that happens, and I can plant it in that little box, I will not charge you for the plant. I will only charge you for the shipping. And I can plant them all up in one day, and I can ask my granddaughter to come in and get them to the post office. So, but when I get closer to that point, if that day comes, I'm going to put that out there. I'll remind you guys a couple times to get a hold of me on Instagram and send me your name and your address, and preferably a phone number. I really need to have a phone number, because I'm going to need to, I may need to get a hold of you for some reason, or an email, either one. It's just some way to reach you. And I'm going to start keeping a list of those. And again, that's for the Black Knight, the succulent, Echeveria succulent. I believe it's the Echeveria. And hopefully in spring, I will have a ton of those to mail out. And I'm going to be able to do it because I'm going to do it all in one day. So my granddaughter, I'm sure, would take those to the post office for me. I just don't want to have to ask her, constantly to be mailing out cuttings, because I know a lot of you have, not a lot, but some of you have asked me for cuttings, and I'm just not able to do it. I just can't do it at this time. I have too many other needs that my family helps me with, that involves having to go to the store and pick up this and pick up that. Like right now I'm out of perlite, and I'm going to need ridding powder, and I just don't want to be a burden to my family, especially over something that's not a necessity. So I hope that explains it. I know I'm rattling. I can tell when I am. So I'm going to be quiet now. I just want to mention what you just saw me sprinkling in there is that bonide systemic granules. And I use that because it kills just about every kind of bug. I mean, it totally took care of my fungus gnats. It kills aphids. It kills mealybug. I mean, it just, if there's any kind of eggs in that soil, it's going to kill it. And of course, it doesn't take care of the ones flying around, but I already told you how to do that. So, all right, so we got our Epsom salt in here. And some of you might ask, are you going to keep using that? I usually do it 2 times, and then I give it about a month to see if it's greening up. If it's not, I'll add a 3rd Epsom watering. But usually once or twice is all you need, and this will start to green up. And I'll do an update on that when those get dark green, and you'll see how good this works. Okay, so hopefully I've helped somebody today. Hopefully somebody that has this problem can fix theirs. And I'm going to give you a whole shot here. Try and get behind this light a little bit. But there she is. Very big and very beautiful. Okay. All right, folks. It's nice being here with you again. Perhaps we'll see you again tomorrow. I'm working on it. Otherwise, maybe Monday. But as long as I'm feeling this good, you're going to have a lot more videos coming your way from me. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. That does help me. I am trying to reach my 1,000 mark, and I'm at 902. So I'm almost there, my friends. So help me out with that. If you know anybody that likes plants that is not already subscribed, please tell them about my channel, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button, okay? All right, you all have a good weekend. Bye now.